fellow Toastmasters, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity today. So resume for today. We are all a very sophisticated group. We know the basics of resumes. We've probably all done 1 or 10 or maybe more. Grace knows for my speech on Tuesday, we're moving towards a different kind of a gig economy, it's called, where more people are freelancing, and they're saying, I gave her the statistic that young adults today can expect to have 25 jobs over a 50-year career, which is a big change. So that's why having resumes is more important now. So some changes that you're gonna see, that if you've been listening to dinosaur advice, as I like to call it, some of the really traditional, really conservative things you may need to rethink if you're looking for a job in the future. So starting just from the top to the bottom on your classic resume. So one change I'm seeing is no address. Don't list your physical address anymore. The chances of someone mailing you a letter are very, very slim. They're gonna call you, email you, IM you, text you, send you a message on LinkedIn, friend you on Facebook, before they would send you a letter through the mail. However, I'll say there is a range of industries, so know your industry. On the conservative side, you'll have educational, higher education, and they are more traditional as is governments. So that is a situation where you may think about sticking to a more traditional, and maybe in that situation you would want to leave your physical address in. So in the middle, we do actually, even though higher education is more traditional, some teachers and people who work with children, they might have something a little bit more of a creative resume, something a little softer, something even flowery. We've seen some resumes for people who are working in the fields where they're interacting with children or any vulnerable populations where they want to project softness. So on the other side, we have the very, very creative fields, and now we're talking about colors and pictures. These would be graphic designers that would have graphs of, they actually put bar graphs of this is how much I know of this program, this is how much I know of this program. So some very creative resumes. So keep this in mind, know your industry, and tell your resume for that. An objective statement is another kind of a controversial part of the resume right now. Some people are saying, no, definitely don't have it, but there are some cases you may want it. You may want to fill out if you don't have a lot of job experience. If you are changing careers, you might want to spell out how your previous work experience translates to a new career. What I like to say, go by the rule of, if you have something you have to say and you have nowhere else to put it in the objective statement. So I have a friend, she has personal experience, she has a disability, and she wants to work with people with disabilities. So any of your objective statements you could write, because of my personal experience, I want to further the causes of people with disabilities. So that's something that wouldn't fit anywhere else in a normal resume, but might be important there. Also, another friend of mine, he found out a business was opening a new branch, and he knew about it before maybe even all the people in the company would know about it. So he wanted to put that objective statement because he wanted only to be considered for this new thing and not for anything else in the other parts of the company. Another way to reframe your resume is to list relevant experience first, and then other or supporting experience. Don't feel locked in to do a chronological resume. This works well for people who don't have a lot of job experience. If there was, I know from one story, a girl, she had one summer job in an office, 3 months, and waitressing the rest of the time. She put that experience at the top of her resume, and then the other experience, it said relevant experience, and it said other work experience in a separate headline, and then her other work experience. So don't feel like you must stick to that chronological format. we do see more, especially with technical resumes, of the functional resumes. And that would just be a list of your skills and then really a brief list of your job experience, nothing like the detailed chronological resumes go into. For sections on education, this is another area that's been changing a lot. I know when I started, it was don't list it if it's below a 3.0. Then for a long time, don't list it if it's below a 3.5. And then I went to a seminar, don't list it if it's below a 3.8.
Wow.
So yes, it's very competitive out there. So there's no reason to list it, particularly if you have been out of college for more than a year, or high school if that's the case. Certainly don't feel obligated, and also no dates on your education. If you feel that might age you, don't put dates. However, I did choose to put my college graduation date on mine because I just graduated, even though I'm middle-aged. I just graduated, and I wanted them to know that, hey, I'm out of work because I've been in college, just to draw that for attention. And there's a few tips for cover letters. Although I think the biggest mistake I see with cover letters is actually a lot of people have some anxiety. They feel like they have to write a very long cover letter, and that's just not the case. I always recommend, you can look for the manager's name, but don't use to whom it may concern. I always write in response to the advertised position for teacher or whatever it is, and start your resume, your cover letter like that. And now we're also using a T-style cover letter, where you put what the requirements of the job are on one side and what your experience is on the other side and how they line up. And then it's just, you can put a basic graph or a detailed fun graph if you're a graphic designer in your cover letter to illustrate that. So that was just a few tips, and I think there's probably a few more, but we'll have to go over that next time. Thank you.